There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
A great white shark was stolen.
Oh, someone stole a shark?
I got stuff for you you don't even know about.
She's a witch. She turned me into a newt.
Who knows? Anything could be possible. Anything could be possible.
It's really big abduction vibes.
Holy moly.
It sounds like you were abducted.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
Welcome back to Cryptids of the Corn podcast. I am the great and powerful mystery. As light shines down on me. The golden orbs from the bottom of the ocean are rising up to worship me.
The golden orbs?
Yeah, there was a new organic creature that they thought was metal.
Oh.
Is gold, bright gold. It looked like a liver after they got it out.
Did not know this.
Yes, they are my subjects. They're coming to worship me.
Interesting. Okay.
The ocean pays tribute. Who are you?
I am J Clone 33 today.
Stop it. Okay, I'm still not up to full health, but I do feel the best I felt in probably 2.5 weeks.
Hey,
Probably since before Squonkapalooza. And it's because I ate like half the jelly last night.
oh, that's so good.
But it's the first time I was kind of craving anything. It was sugar.
The
It was
raspberry
very
jelly?
weird. Yeah,
So good.
it was very weird. And Chloe gave me a processor for more jelly.
Oh, really?
Make it
To
easier. on me.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
To
we're
bring
gonna,
berries.
we're gonna have to pick more because we got a lot right now.
I need more. Because, anyways, this mystery is monstrous. This mystery is humongous. This mystery could have been a season finale.
Ooh, we're going mid-season.
Yeah, it's not even like it. It's a big one.
Is it mid-season?
It's at
finale?
least going to be a 2-parter.
Is that a thing? A mid-season finale?
Well, if we were going to take a break in the middle of a season, we would do something like that.
No, we're celebrating the middle of the season ending.
Yeah, it's not even close to the middle, is it?
Oh yeah.
I think we're only at like episode 18 or something like
Oh
that.
shoot, quarter season finale.
Well, what are we doing?
We are going to discuss.
A 3-letter agency.
Ooh, okay.
The DIA.
Well, that's not really an agency, is it?
Are you sure?
I didn't think so. I mean, I've been there. I've been there twice.
Are you sure it's not an agency?
Well, not one of them, I don't think.
Now, what are we doing?
The Denver International Airport.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum,
This is one of the
bum.
ones I hated doing.
Why?
First off, because the conspiracy trails go everywhere, but to a point where, like, normally when I'm doing this research, I can kind of like pick and choose, and like, because there's no, like, some of them just have no backing,
Right.
and you're like, okay, well, this is just somebody said something one time, and then it spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
So we don't need to spend 40 minutes covering this.
Following that spiral.
This one, all of these conspiracies and weird things have a lot of backing. The construction of the airport even backs itself. Like, it's just the actual airport modernly is feeding into the conspiracy so heavily.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it all.
Yeah, why? But I guess we'll talk about it.
Yes.
It's a big
Stop
why.
playing with your microphone, pretty please.
Why? Can you hear it?
Yes.
You can hear this?
Yes.
What's it sound like?
It sounds like a bolt screwing.
I'm not screwing nothing. I'm spinning my little hair band
All right.
around it.
All right. I'm just going to meet you. You know what year it was built?
Huh?
Do you know what year it was built?
1979.
Nope. The best year ever, 1995.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was way off.
The Denver International Airport is one of the largest and busiest airports in the United States, let alone the world. Did you know that?
I knew it was very busy, and I know it's very difficult to get through because all the security and all that. It takes forever.
It has like a tent-like roof. It's tend to mimic a snow-capped mountain peaks, according to the architects.
Interesting.
It was designed by architects Kurt Funtress and James Barburn.
Okay.
Kurt Fintris. Fortress.
Farturus? Okay.
The international terminals. One of the busiest airports, once again, in the United States, has the largest this is the crazy fact.
What?
It is the largest employer in Colorado.
Wow.
Guess how many people work at the international airport?
Oh, gosh. Okay. 8,642.
35,000 people.
Oh, I was way off.
35,000 employees.
That's
Not 3,500.
No, 1,000.
35,000.
That's
Almost the population of Lima, Ohio.
I was gonna say that's like us times 7.
It's located on a 52 square mile site, 25 miles northeast of the city, which is a very weird thing we'll talk about later.
It is what that it's so far outside of the city.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes about what'd you say, 45 minutes?
25 minutes.
25
or
minutes.
25 miles. Sorry, I don't have the
Okay.
how long it takes.
It takes about 45 minutes an hour to go from this airport into the city, from what I remember.
That's one of the biggest fights with its construction, and nobody gave a good answer why it needed to be built there. Besides, it was built on top of an abandoned military base.
No way.
But we'll get to that probably in part 2.
Was it really?
You'll have to wait to find
Oh
out.
my gosh.
I worked hard on this.
So
Gosh dang it.
Yes.
You'll wait.
It is. The answer is yes.
Denver International Airport is the largest airport in North America, and it is second largest in the world. It is the second largest airport in the world. I did not look up who the first, so don't ask is.
I was about to.
Since
Guess
it
was
opened
like
in
Dubai.
1995, the DIA has become the 5th busiest airport in the United States. As of 2020, though, it's the 8th busiest airport in the world.
Okay.
With more than 35,000 employees, it is the largest employer in Colorado and has sparked a building boom of the northeast metro Denver area. So that's one of the big things. We'll get to this kind of later, but they build it way out of the city.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to go conspiratorially minded,
Okay.
they did that to grow Denver.
So it would grow towards the airport.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Denver was growing a different direction and gaining more poverty, so they did this to gain more of a higher end area.
How does that work?
Huh?
How does that work?
Because so it's low end housing and stuff like that was being built towards as Denver was expanding. So generally, stuff around international airports is higher end.
Yeah. Oh.
So
okay.
they wanted the airport outside of the city where nothing was being built, so everything
Okay.
around it could be high end.
Okay.
But we'll get to that probably in the next 3 hours. But by expanding access to not only Colorado, but also the entire Rocky Mountain range, the DIA enhances Denver's sway over its huge winterland area.
Huge.
Denver and Colorado have always relied heavily upon transportation, mainly because of the Rocky Mountain region. Railways originally made Denver a regional hub, but in 1890, it was second only to San Francisco in the population among Western cities. So Denver got ahead of the gun very early.
Mm-hmm.
It was always ahead with transportation. It had one of the biggest transportation hubs of the West for a railroad.
Mm-hmm.
Through the 20th century, Denver struggled to maintain its position. It started losing ground to cities like Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Denver and Colorado actually lost population during the 1980s oil bust. Kansas City, San Antonio, Sacramento, San Jose, and Portland all gained population during this time. So this was a heavy turning point for Denver's history. In the late 1980s, Denver was on the verge of collapse.
Okay. From economic collapse?
Yes.
Okay.
And keep in mind, for the last 100 years before that, it was a star.
Yeah, it was.
It was a star among the
Hustling,
desert.
bustling city in the West.
At the end of the 1980s, Denver Mayor Franco Pena, the N has the little swiggle over it. Daniel Pena. Just Pena. We're Mayor Pena.
Okay.
The Colorado Governor Ron Romer both announced that transportation, notably a new airport, would be the key to Colorado's recovery and prosperity. Denver Stapleton International Airport has first opened in 1929 as the Denver Municipal Airport. That sounds like the Ada Airport.
Yeah. Okay. So their original airport was in 1929.
Yeah, and it still was being used in the late 80s.
Okay.
It had 4 gravel runways and a windsock.
Nice. Wait, a windsock? What's that?
The thing to tell wind direction instead of having all the fancy electronic instruments.
Oh, yeah, the windsock still
so
works.
do you know, like, here's your little fun fact, since it's going to already be a really long time. The windsock tells you the wind speed by how many notches of the sock are straight back before it folds over.
Ah, wow.
Every notch, depending on the windsock, is either 2 miles, 5 miles, or 10 miles per hour.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Fun little fact there.
Fun little fact. It also points the direction the wind's coming from.
Right, exactly.
The airport was renamed the Stapleton after the mayor who presided over its development in 1944. So it got renamed in 1944.
Okay.
The airport grew after World War II until it was the world's 5th busiest airport hub in the 1980s. Yet despite commercial expansion, Stapleton struggled to keep up with passenger services. So they had this airport already built in the city that was doing fine commercially, but passengers just didn't want to use it. I wonder why.
Probably because it was old and
It had a
outdated.
gravel runway.
Or dangerous.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Yeah. I wonder if that gravel runway provided, a soft, smooth landing.
It did not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I think it about like driving a gravel runway. Probably it's about like driving down your driveway.
Okay.
Imagine landing a Boeing on your driveway.
Pretty bumpy.
Yeah. You know the videos, all the wheels falling off planes lately? That's why. They have to go into the Stapleton airport.
Just don't build things like they used to.
That's probably better for this example. Dallas-Fort Worth, the 1973 airport, was the last major one to be built by the United States, inspiring Denver's grandiose scheme. After the 1973 opening, once again, I'm just going to go the Dallas airport, the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, went from 9 to 43rd carriers and soared ahead of the Stapleton to become the world's 4th busiest in terms of passenger service. The Dallas-Fort Worth region experienced 25% growth during the 1970s, a successful story not lost on Denver, which had become a national champion in empty office space in business bankruptcies during the oil crash in the mid-1980s.
Okay.
So all this is pointing to is that all the other cities in the West were doing amazing.
Except Denver.
And Denver was crashing.
It was struggling.
It was the national champion in empty office spaces in buildings.
Ooh, that's not good. That's not the national championship you want to hold up.
Like I just said, in the late 1980s, it had the most big business bankruptcies of any city in the country.
Not good.
So this is all pointing that the big, new, shiny international airport with all the amenities
Better be
would be a facelift.
Yeah.
It's
better be nice and shiny and sparkly and new. It better be.
It better be. Well, Denver was envying Dallas. It got a poke in the backside from Salt Lake City. The Utah capital emerged as a rival to the Delta Airlines acquired Western Airlines in 1986, and it made Salt Lake its western hub. So this giant airline bought another major airline and picked Salt Lake City as its hub.
Ah, okay.
So now on both sides, they're getting massive airports, that are just taking over. And the city, airports are highly, backbone of infrastructure for cities.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that. That's why I'm trying to really run it home.
Like stuff in and out.
Yeah.
Especially being
transport, goods, services, commercial, shipping, even like letters and stuff like that, mail service.
But even them being an international airport is even more the next step up.
We'll get to the international side of it.
All
Keep in
right.
mind, I haven't mentioned an international airport yet.
No, not yet.
That's you go bigger, you go home.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, so the Salt Lake City one was running full-page ads in the New York Times and other publications in the February of 1986, featuring that it hired executives arriving late featuring a hired executive running late for a meeting who says, "Sorry, I'm late, but I had to fly through Denver."
Oh, what is that? I don't know.
So not
stop
only
them while they're down or whatever
they're kicking them while they're down.
Yeah.
So the next time he would fly through Salt Lake City, so the mayor was done. Mayor Penier was done. I'm gonna start calling him beignet, like the Louisiana dessert.
Sounds good.
So he proposed that the airlines and authorized a $200,000 campaign to sing Stapleton's praise, basically an ad campaign, boosting the Beehive State stung Coloradoans again in 1987 by creating a new snow white license plate with a skier, and the slogan says, "Utah, greatest snow on earth."
Oh.
So Utah and Colorado are really going at it.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado's known for their mountains and their skiing and their snow, and
That was their license plate at the time. So Utah just completely ripped the license plate.
state rivalries and country rivalries.
We're 15 minutes in. I haven't mentioned any really conspiracy because it's just they understand the history. And this is what we try to do is really get you to the backbone of the information before you get there. Cause
lay the foundation.
Utah stung competition joined the new airport proponents in Denver. So did Las Vegas long-range strategies and overbuilding its airport to promote economic growth. The Blue Ribbon Panel of Colorado businesses and the civic leaders found that in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Atlanta, cities where economics were similar to Denver's as regional centers, new airports were a key element to attracting new businesses and higher-end clientele.
Okay.
So they did all these studies and found that new, big, important airports are what bring an industry.
Draws it in.
Yes, for their same kind of economic centers.
Gotcha.
So they put studies forth. So they all kind of came to an agreement. This is a panel of about 200 people.
This is what needs to be done in order to move forward and save this city from struggling economic, I don't know, just struggling economy.
So this booster group claimed that Denver either had to grow or wither away, that it must replace Stapleton International with a new regional airport or lose business to rivals. This is a key point. This is, it's time to go.
Put up or shut up.
So they put where to put such a huge new facility was a very hard issue for the city itself. So they all agree. So this is very rare in government.
That we all agree we need this.
There's like 3 or 4 panels working on this subject. And they're all like, okay, we need it.
They're probably all like owned by the same corporation, though. All the people.
The fight was where to put it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So once again, they'll put it. Some had hoped to just expand the existing Stapleton International Airport using vacant Rocky Mountain Arsenal north edge of the existing airport. Others said the site was contaminated and not large enough. By that, I think they just mean like the thought contaminated.
Yes. Okay.
Like you can't dress it up.
Yeah.
People are going to view that as that. It's not a new airport.
It's
you dressed up
on
the
a
old
pig.
one. Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, arguments had reached on largely unoccupied farmlands on the northeastern outskirts of Denver, much which lay in Adams County. So some opposition. Do you have any questions so far?
No, I'd say it's pretty awesome.
Anything I can help you with, baby bird?
Straightforward, and we're getting the history down.
A lot of history.
You're painting a picture in my mind.
Good. Because it's just like when I've listened to the Denver airport on other podcasts, conspiracy stuff, I didn't know any of this.
Okay.
Like, I didn't know nothing. I knew a little bit about the planning fights and stuff like that, but nothing like why the airport was built. It was a very new airport, and I thought that was weird.
Right, yeah.
And now I know why it was a very new airport. It's because
Just
Colorado was going to die.
Yeah. The whole state was going to die.
Denver, literally, yeah.
Denver's the hub.
The governor and the mayor of Denver are the ones that are the big push of this new airport.
Okay.
Because there's not much in Colorado as far as major cities.
You got Denver, Aspen.
No, Aspen's not a major city.
I just know it from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, you got Denver,
Colorado.
and I think Grand Junction.
Aspen's got to be bigger than that, right?
No, Grand Junction's like the big city in the middle of the Rockies, so you can get through the Rockies.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like your last stop before
you get gas again.
So there was a lot of opposition. Opponents are charged that Denver's new sky hub would generate more traffic and automobile pollution by moving the airport 13 miles further away than the core of the city. So that was a big pushback, is saying that you're going to have all this traffic and all this pollution because you are making people drive so far out of the city and so far back in, and it's just going to be lines of cars trying to get to the airport because it's so far away.
Yeah, but wouldn't be lines of like traffic in the city if the airport was located in the city?
You don't have to leave as early.
Yeah, I guess.
It's more staggered, I think, is what they're getting at. I'm not saying they're right.
Right, yeah.
I'm just saying it would be more staggered when it's like, when it's not an hour drive to go to the airport.
Yeah. I guess.
When it's an hour drive for everybody,
yeah,
everybody leaves early and there's lines.
Okay.
Denver then added they would be the first city to ever scrap a major functioning airport. Sorry. They're going to get rid of Stapleton.
Oh, no, they're going to scrap the gravel roads? What are they going to do?
Naysayers worried that the new airport would take business, conventions, and tourists away from the urban core in the northeast and the eastern suburbs. The predictions later became true as major hotels and other enterprises opened along near the Peniers Boulevard, named after the mayor, in the main road to the DIA. Critics also argued that both Continental and United, DIA, two major carriers, were financially troubled. So the two plane companies that backed this new one were not the best plane companies.
What was it, like Allegiance?
It was Continental and United.
Okay. Oh.
And they were in the 90s. They were having some financial troubles.
I think they still are, aren't they? Continental even a thing?
No, I think United bought Continental, if I'm not mistaken. Both might shift their hubs from Denver's expensive new facility to other cheaper airports. Initially, Continental United threatened to sue and stop construction, which they claim was unneeded and would force them and their customers to pay exorbitant landing fees. So they weren't really in for it either.
Landing fees. Yeah, it sounds like they weren't. They didn't want to deal with that new stuff.
They wanted the gravel road one because it cost $2 to land.
Ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, yeah. You wonder why all your stuff comes broken in the mail.
Gosh.
Landing on a gravel road. The airlines pointed out that the 2 of the 5 concourses at Stapleton were practically empty, as passenger service had declined since 1986. Critics further charged that the airport would inevitably cost much more than the $1.9 billion estimate. They were right.
Billion. 1.9, that was the initial. That's so much money.
Well, we'll talk about how much money later. The figure, they pointed out, did not cover highways, light rails to the airport, airline equipment costs, cleanup cost of the abandoned airport. Denver claimed that it could all sell the Stapleton site for $100 million, was also challenged. So, questions, comments, concerns about the opposition?
Concerns. They can sell it for $100 million, but the new one costs $1.9 billion?
Yes.
I guess that's a little drop out of the hat for them.
And the $1.9 billion estimate did not
cover it, right?
It did not have, it didn't have airline equipment cost, cleanup costs of the abandoned airport, light rails on the airways, or the highways.
Right. It's a lot of
highways
unaccounted for. No, not at all.
So $2 billion.
Yeah, and that's on the minimum. It's going to be a lot more than that, I'm sure. That's insane. Okay. That's crazy. Already, and it's not even, you haven't got to the crazy stuff yet.
And then the 2 major airlines that were already using a facility are threatening to sue.
Yes. Okay, so it sounds like off to a great start.
They don't want the new airport built because they don't care if their stuff gets there all broken.
Well, now this is all making sense. They had, once we get to like the airport after being built and what's all like put on the inside, like designed, but whoever designed it, I don't know. I guess
I have the information later.
I guess we'll get to see that these guys didn't really have a chance or say. I'm assuming in that construction of the airport, the airlines.
I think we'll get to that later, but I think Penier's idea got taken from him and pushed forward.
Hijacked?
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't say hijacked on a plane episode.
Oh.
So the Yay Sayers. Do you want me to talk about some of those?
The Yay?
Yeah.
So the yes men. Okay. Yeah.
So the Denver International Airport was approved by Adams County voters in 1988 and by Denver residents in 1989 with considerable cheerleading for businesses and political figures. Adams County citizens had to say the yes to allow the Denver to annex the land. Opposition forced the special Denver election on the issue. In the past promises for transports, Governor Romer declared in 1989, the airport is the single most important economic decision the state will make in the next 20 years. We had an opportunity to build an airport that will be second to none and will lead Colorado to the next century as a transport hub for the nation and the world. He was right.
Yeah.
For the most part, it is second. It is the world's second busiest airport.
Busiest.
Second largest as well.
Okay.
But it was the biggest for a short time.
I have to look up the largest now.
I think it's in UK, if I had to guess. The Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA.
Our good old friends.
Have we ever talked about the FFA?
Oh, not
the FAA. Sorry, the FAA.
FAA. That's different than the FFA.
Yeah.
Future Farmers America, or what is it? FAA. What's it stand for?
The Federal Aviation Administration.
Yeah.
Same group.
Pretty much, yeah.
They agreed with the naysayers, pointing out that Stapleton had both bottlenecked and claimed the new facility was necessary to end flight delays and hazardous congestion in the national airport network. So the FAA hated Stapleton.
Probably because the gravel roads and the windsocks.
But they also were a danger to other air traffic.
The FAA?
The Stapleton International Airport in Denver.
Okay.
Because their planes got out so late and they were such bad communicators with other airports that there was air congestion from them.
Oh, I see. Just from them?
Yeah.
Because they weren't communicating well enough, I guess.
And they were sending planes out so late because it's like the train schedule.
Gotcha.
So like trains run on the same rail lines constantly, but it's all about being on time. These guys ride the same, basically imagine like the roads in the sky.
Gotcha. Okay.
So now that this gigantic plane is supposed to leave, it's leaving 2 hours late. That doesn't just affect them. That affects everybody
up there going to those routes, yeah.
And they were very bad about telling the FAA that, okay, now they're going. Like, no, they're in the air. Okay, they're in the air now.
Yep.
They're there.
Yeah, they're already up there.
Yep. So the FAA is like, yeah, we'll prove whatever.
Yeah.
As long as you're going to tear that one down.
You're right. Update it. At least get some modern equipment. Let's try concrete runways.
Now, they had an old guy in the thing he was running, that was turning the radar.
Yeah.
Radar
By
hand.
By him, yeah. Little crank at the bottom.
They were still picking up whales.
Picking up whales? What do you mean?
That's problems with sonar was a joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Noting that Denver was the only major U.S. city that seriously thinking about getting a new large airport, the FAA in 1989 endorsed the project fully. They approved the final environmental impact statement and contributed $60 million for the groundbreaking.
Wow.
So they even put some money towards it.
Yeah, that's nice.
And they helped the environmental impact statement. And I don't want to skip over. The Adams County voters are the ones that approved the annex of the land.
Right, exactly. So they, voted on by the citizens, approved by the citizens. Okay.
You got there's a lot of room out in Denver. And it's kind of weird the spot they picked. We'll get to that later. It's just odd that there's a military base in the ground in the mountain there.
What, in the place they picked?
Yeah.
So it is true.
Is it? Or am I just feeding you along? So building the world's largest airport.
Breadcrumbs. Sorry. Breadcrumbs. You're leaving me a trail.
Okay.
To follow. That's all.
That's all. Building the largest airport. Mayor Pena, the airport planning team, promised that in contrast to the hodgepodge of additions at Stapleton, the new airport would be thoroughly planned, cutting-edge solution. The master plan worked out along the Denver, Aurora, Commerce City, and Adams County clarified each community's sphere of interest in surrounding commercial, industrial, recreational, and residential development. That's a big fancy word of saying that the people that were going to build this airport were promising the mayor it's not going to be like Stapleton, and we're going to let everybody know. We're going to think about everybody's needs with this airport. The airport area master plan called for converting the nearby Rocky Mountain Arsenal.
Rocky Mountain Arsenal?
Rocky Mountain Arsenal.
What's that?
We'll get into it.
Okay.
The nearby Rocky Mountain Arsenal into a wildlife preserve, allowing travelers to observe golden and bald eagles, to see bison roam, watch prairie dogs dig their holes and then make their villages, and see deer and antelope play. While the farmers out continued the lease agreement, and one barn would be left as a tribute to the land's former use.
Mm-hmm.
There was a farm.
Let me guess, the skies are not cloudy all day, too?
So there was the arsenal. The Rocky Mountain Arsenal is right there.
Okay.
It's abandoned.
What was it? Like an old
we'll come back to it.
Barrack or something?
It has its own conspiracy history.
Oh boy.
And it was abandoned in the 70s.
Oh boy. Okay.
And now they're building it right on top of it. But they're using it as their so basically their environmental impact statement. They have to put up a wildlife area for every land, like for each acre they're using.
Okay.
So this thing is like right across from where they're building.
Okay.
So they're like, well, we're just going to use that land for this, and we'll make sure it's wildlife habitat and all this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
It's what a business is supposed to do.
Okay.
We'll get to it. I'm sure people are sick of me saying that.
We'll get to that. Yeah. We finish in the episode. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Denver charged ahead. In September of 89, Denverites watched as every news says the groundbreaking in a wheat field and heard a beaming Mayor Penier declare the world's largest airport would be open there by May 1993. He was wrong.
I'll just say, those dates don't add up.
In April of 1999, the city sold 704 million in tax-free municipal revenue bonds to finance the airport's construction.
What year was that, you said?
The 90.
April 1990?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So where was I? Now you maybe lose me. Through declining passenger numbers, the Denver area depression, and this shakiness of both the Continental and United led Moody to assign the bonds as lackluster ratings. So people weren't too fond of the bonds because it was looking like a shaky gamble.
Okay.
The new airport provided an opportunity for some artistic decisions. Unlike the hodgepodge of additions made to Stapleton, no thing of beauty. Drawing inspiration from the snow-capped Rockies is kind of what gave it its that. And also the Indian teepees that once occurred at the site. Curtis and James both designed the terminals to feature Teflon-coated white fiberglass tents that would glow at night and the day atop a man-made mesa. So they were saying that they're trying to incorporate both the beauty and some Native American structures.
Okay.
And if you look at it, you can kind of see what they were going for. How much more of that do you want? Do you want all of it, the building stuff?
How close are we to the end of the building itself?
I got a couple more paragraphs.
Let's just finish up. That way we got the full range of the building itself.
From the terminals, passengers were all connected by 3 courseways via underground trains. Did you know about this?
Underground train. Now, I've heard... do I know? No, I don't know. But I've heard about underground tunnels all throughout the Denver International Airport.
So the original plan was all the terminals, passenger and commercial, were all connected by an underground rail system.
And guess what? It's not. Because I've been there.
We'll get to that later. The courseways led to from 1,200-foot runways to one 1,600-foot runway, the longest in the country.
That's pretty awesome. Okay.
With plenty of room for 7 more runways to feature expansions. The computerized baggage system made a much-touted, I can never say this word, novelty, a much-touted novelty, replaced malfunctioned, delaying the airport opening by 2 years. So they had this thing that was supposed to automate baggage.
Okay.
With the rail system.
Underground.
Yes.
Okay.
They built it like 4 to 5 stories underground.
Deep?
Yes.
Okay.
There are pictures of it.
Okay.
It's real. They gave up on it after 2 years of not getting to work.
Not getting what to work? The baggage thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so they just concreted it all off.
Oh, sure. It sounds just like
when we get to conspiracies later, just so everybody's clear, they did build gigantic, and I mean truly gigantic, underground structures, and it didn't work out, so they concreted them off.
Convenient.
I just want to make that very clear. This is the official report, and that is what is officially publicly known. So it's no wonder why conspiracies, whether what's real and what's not real, it's no wonder why conspiracies sprout.
Right, because this stuff's actually there and talked about. It sounds like almost exactly like in California when Elon Musk built them that underground tunnel, the boring tunnel after the hypertrain, and then after so many years of hyping it up, all of a sudden, it's not going to work, so we're going to shut it down and close it off. It's okay. So you built this gigantic miles worth long of tunnels, and now it's just nope. We're closed it off. Nothing. You can't use it. Can't work. Odd.
So on February 28, 1995, the DIA opened with signature tent-topped roof on the Japanese terminal, named for the Denver-based aviation pioneer, early Japanese.
What?
Japanese? The Japanese terminal.
That's what it's called.
How do you spell Japanese with an E instead of an A?
JEPEN.
Yeah.
ESE.
Yeah.
Japanese.
Japanese. Okay, the Japanese terminal.
Japanese. What? I don't.
Known worldwide for its navigation charts. He was that Earl Japanese. Weird name.
That's his name.
Yes.
Okay.
So he was a famous charter for aviation.
Okay.
And that's what the Japanese terminal was named after.
After him, not the Japanese.
Not the Japanese, but it's spelled
Close. Near about the same.
Denver's policy of setting aside 1% of any city's project over $1 million for public art meant millions of art scattered through the terminals and courseways. Most spectacular and controversial was the New Mexican artist Louis Jimenez. We're going to talk about Louis later.
Okay, Louis.
But his blue Mustang. His anatomically correct. Also, it's also called Blucifer.
Blucifer.
Because the blue horse with red glowing eyes.
And I was going to say, you're not talking about the Mustang like the car.
No,
you're talking about an actual horse.
With a gigantic, kids, cover your ears, a gigantic penis.
It's a statue, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
But it's a highly anatomically correct
horse or
32 foot high, ranging, rearing, neon blue horse with glaring red eyes attract criticism, and most people called it Blucifer or the devil horse. The fact that the horse fell on and killed Louis, the creator, added it to its eeriness, which we're going to talk about later completely.
Okay.
Because we're going to go into that story fully.
Okay.
Finally installed prominently on the hilltop in 2008, the blue Mustang could be seen for all vehicles approaching to the terminal.
So it's the first thing that greets you on your way there, basically.
Yeah, and it sees you.
It's like the big Las Vegas welcome to Vegas sign as you're coming in. This is the big blue horse saying, I don't know what he's saying, but I'm kind of fearful of his message.
So we talked about that it was gonna, cost $1.9 billion.
Yes.
Do you want to guess how much it actually cost?
Well, I'm going to take a guesstimate since I think you kind of mentioned it earlier. I'm going to say about $4 billion.
$6 billion.
Oh, more.
In 2.5 years after schedule.
Whoa.
At first, so it depends on which one you read for the schedule thing.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to open in 91. And then, okay, that's not possible. So we're going to open in 93.
And then they're like,
okay, that's not possible. We're going to open in 95.
And then that one made it.
It was under construction for 6 years.
So, when you're building all that underground stuff.
That's no joke.
They
even said that.
Takes time.
And everybody, I highly suggest you watch the kind of hearings with the councils and stuff when they were kind of asking why it was taking forever. Nobody says anything.
You mean that stuff's still public?
Yeah.
Really?
Nobody says anything. Wow. I want to also thank Thomas J. Knoll. I use most of that stuff from his work.
Interesting.
He did a nice piece on the history of the Denver International Airport that wasn't very biased, so I picked his.
I'm still kind of shocked that stuff's public in the public domain still.
All right, so we're 38 minutes in. Let's take our ad break and we'll come back when things get weird. Are you ready, Jay?
I was born ready. Back.
Let's get weird.
All right, I'm ready for the weirdness. Okay, so
I hope that wasn't too much. I know that's 40 minutes of just history,
setting the stage, but
that's what's all public, documented, agreed upon, and they could kind of already feel some of the weirdness leaking out.
Yeah, I think so.
The conspiracy is just under the edge. Some of the conspiracies you really got to dig for. For the DIA,
this one there's not much digging.
It's just there.
Yeah,
and it all starts with that stupid blue horse.
That's the kickoff point.
Well, we're going to talk about the murals first.
Well, okay. Oh, okay. So the paintings inside the old Denver International Airport.
So did you understand what I meant by the Denver art thing?
What do you mean?
Basically, any of these major construction projects or building projects have to spend 1% of their budget on art.
Okay. Oh, you mean as far as it all being themed the same and not just hodgepodge thrown together?
Not even about that. Just
Okay.
that they have to spend that much. So
Oh, okay.
they,
Yeah,
have to,
gotcha.
they had to spend 1% of $6 billion on art.
So as their total budget
As a
goes,
part of as part of like community growth and like community stuff.
Dang.
Like, so yes, that's a Colorado law.
okay.
So the DIA's murals feed conspiracy theorists dramatically. The two murals are the east and the west baggage claims. Outside of the Great Hall, each mural is split into two pieces, separated by doorways. Together, they tell a variety of different stories for travelers to interpret while they're waiting for their bags. So the first kind of one we're going to go into is Peace and Harmony with Nature on the Western Terminal. And that's the name of it, which is said to symbolize the environmental destruction and environmental healing. It's located on the west side of the baggage claim. Do you know what? Have you seen this one?
I've seen them. You guys show me which one you're
So
specifically
the
talking
one is like the side is living with all the nature,
Yep.
and the other one is like nature's all dead and stuff like that.
And is that the one with the guys wearing like the gas mask?
No, that's different. We'll get to
Okay,
that.
that's
We'll
the
get
second
to
one.
that.
That's one I've seen in person.
This one has all the races of the world portrayed. It has like all kinds of animals, everything from whales, turtles, birds, big cats.
okay.
The one shows like turtles dying in nets, whales bleeding to death, like the smog and death and pollution. Other one shows all the animals living in their natural environment in peace and unity. To me, on the surface, this one's not very creepy. Like I get, like we're looking at it, especially when you see both
Side
murals
by
next
side.
to.
Yeah.
You get what it's going for. It's like
Right.
kind of showing you that these are your choices.
Right.
You can live with nature, or you can't.
Right. Or you destroy it.
And humans don't realize that they're a part of nature.
Mhm.
We kind of get this thought as a species that we've evolved out of nature.
Right.
And no, you can't eat money, and you can't eat everything you need to eat comes from nature.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And the fact that we live in nature, we kind of just take it for granted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just always.
100%.
Yeah. It's not like I figure some people just expect it'll clean itself up, it'll be fine, but it's not quite like that.
There used to be a quote I said all the time when I was younger, that when the last fish dies, when the last tree falls, when the rivers run toxic, man will understand you can't eat money.
I mean, you can. It's just going to taste funny.
It's just
and
not good.
and not give you much nutrients.
So, we'll get into some of the reasons with peace and harmony and children of the world dream of peace here in a minute. But you have anything thoughts before I tell you a little bit more about peace and harmony with nature?
I mean, I'm sure like it's going to be spun in a way of like with children, living in peace and nature and harmony and stuff like that, or like they'll be as children they're promised a utopia they'll grow up in, so they'll accept they'll accept the laws placed before them in order to live in this utopia, but in reality it's not utopia and it's not peace and harmony. It's in their harmony, they being the controllers.
So just from looking at the picture on the death side of it, with the forest burning and everything, they have a bison head taxidermied on the wall.
Okay.
They have a great ankh in a glass case. So an ankh is a bird that we're directly responsible for the extinction of.
Oh, okay.
They kind of look like penguins, but they were humongous.
Oh, okay.
And we ate them all. Bleeding whales, turtles in nets. There's a dead snow leopard and a bird of paradise burning. And on the other side, it shows all the same animals living in harmony, plus some others. But yeah, I'm kind of dancing around it because the next one is the one that really sparks discussion.
Conspiracy, and I've seen it in person.
So the second
Twice.
mural is titled "Children of the World Dream of Peace." That's the whole title. No commas, nothing. Which depicts a war versus peace theme. It was previously located on the eastern side of the baggage claim. Not only are these pieces quite weird, especially to be used as art in an airport, but both have unusual or unsuspectingly fueled speculations of the Denver International Airport as a part of a larger conspiracy centered around a group known as the New World Order. So what if I told you both of these paintings have heavy New World Order themes?
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. New World Order.
New World Order. Back at you again, baby girl.
And not the wrestling New World Order, and not Hulk Hogan. We're talking about the actual people, but attempting to run the world in a certain way.
So some background information. Before we get into the murals themselves, I'll give you a little more information about what makes the theories come to life. To be clear, like all great conspiracy theories, and this is the author speaking, not me, there is plausible and some fact and based in many of these theories surrounding the DIA. The first reason is many of these theories thrown around is the fact that when it was built, Denver had already, like we talked about, the fully functioning other airport, the Stapleton. But for some reason, residents were unhappy with the noisy traffic congestion. We already kind of talked about that. Author, you should have done your research. But he's an art author.
He's what?
He's an art author.
An art author. Okay.
So I get that. He's not really looking into the political research.
He's looking for the picture books.
Beyond the airport being unneeded, which itself lays the groundwork for some of these wild conspiracies, is the fact that the airport was also completed 2 years behind schedule, wildly due to the construction being the constructors being fired during the construction. That's something we didn't get into before. A lot of them were fired.
Really?
Yeah. Like a lot of people were just fired, like individual construction groups and stuff like that. It was weird. There was a lot of weird firing. I couldn't find a lot of information on it.
As to why?
Yeah. But it's such a large project.
That is odd, though. You would think you would want the whole same people in and out from start to finish so you know it. Unless there's a reason you don't.
Unless that's why they were going 2 years behind, is because all these big construction groups were using it to pad their wallets. Like dilly-dallying and stuff like that, hiding in the construction.
Which that could lead to a firing, I would assume. But
yes.
I wonder, too, what if they just, fired, got new crews in and stuff just to kind of compartmentalize.
And like we talked about, grossly over budget.
Ugh, gross. So
the first section is a mural by Tangama. So it's a brightly colored, and we're talking about peace and harmony with nature.
Okay.
It's a brightly colored, horrific scene of trees burning in the background, animals in glass cages. Like I said, those aren't glass cages; those are like exhibits at museums, extinct. Girls laying in a coffin, young people fleeing the scene while crying. Some seriously dark and scary stuff, to be sure. And in the second section of the mural, though, we see a diverse number of children and animals coming together around a functional plant. And or a futuristic plant, I'm sorry. The plant is very odd.
The plant on the painting, painting? Okay.
The centered around, it's like dimensional. It's like a dimensional flower, almost the best way I can describe it.
Dimensional flower? I don't understand what you mean by that.
Like it looks like there's flowers on top of flowers on top of flowers.
Oh, okay. Like it's got
got all the colors of the rainbow in one flower, but it's like the same flower repeat. It's a very odd looking thing.
Fractals of itself. Okay.
The initial known theme of the environmental destruction versus environmental healing is easy to see, but many people believe there's more than meets the eye with this famous work. For instance, the first section of the mural, the bird in the middle is a quetzal bird, which is sometimes used as an allegory for extinction.
Okay.
So that's that bird of paradise. It's
the one you mentioned earlier, the one that's in the cage. Okay.
One of the main conspiracies surrounding the airport is a mass extinction event that will happen soon, and the DA was built as a type of sanctuary for those selected to emerge with the new world order. Similarly, on the other side of the mural, the plant that the children are all gathered around can be seen as a symbol for the new world government that everybody will follow once the extinction event is over. The extinction event is pictured clearly in the other mural, which we'll get to.
Yeah. Because the other one's scary.
So they're saying that's what's showing. That the first thing is showing the extinction event, and that bird of paradise, the quetzal bird, is a sign of extinction.
I'm afraid to jump straight into a cannonball into conspiracy theories and stuff, but man.
So this is the one we're going to end on for today.
Yeah.
So here in a second, I'll let you go ahead.
All right.
And then we'll get into the other ones next week.
Okay.
Because there's a lot more.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's chock full. So
what do you think about this first mural?
The
two with the wildlife and the kids and
it's got a nice message. I like it. I enjoy it. But however, it seems like there's a lot of stuff hidden within it. It may be a bit more nefarious.
So the bird of paradise, the quetzal bird, is in both paintings.
Okay. But the one it's caged up, the other it's not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, to me, if we're trying to read, and that's an extinction event portraying itself. I don't know. It's just odd. I don't get that. To me, it takes a lot, I guess, a big stretch.
To what?
for me to be there. It's an extinction event.
And that's unless they're, it's almost like, with the dead animals and stuff, it's like they're blaming us for the extinction. It would be really nefarious if it was like a forced extinction.
Oh, I think,
Which I think may be more of what's actually happening. Like it's a forced extinction to kill off things, and then, like you said, like they were gathering around that flower, like the one world government, like they mentioned. Once people, if the whole world is in turmoil, like not just one country, not just two countries going to war with each other, the whole world is like in a suffering state, and people are just dying at massive numbers. People, plants, animals, all that stuff. If there is like a thing that comes together that, brings everybody hope, a one world government, that you're going to be utopia, you're going to be taken care of. I could see where people will be easily manipulated to fall into it and like agree to it. Like it's a beautiful little flower that you want to help grow and bloom.
I kind of see it more as like Mother Earth, the embodiment.
The flower?
Yes, as the planet itself in one piece. But it's just what I see when I'm looking at this.
Well, what are some of the things?
Once the Earth, because behind, if you look at the background, it shows all major biomes in better health.
Yeah.
So then the flower sprouts out of that.
Gotcha.
Showing that, I don't know. That's just what I see from it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's a painting.
Right.
It's very. These paintings are very open to interpretation.
Yes. It's full of symbology, and a picture speaks 1,000 words. So it's taking your own interpretation of what you're seeing.
Ready for the next one? Here's the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Children of the world dream of peace. The first section of this mural shows a gas-masked soldier wreaking havoc with a gun and a sword.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a Nazi, like classic 1930s, 40s Nazi.
I see it more as a Russian.
You see that? Okay.
From the same World War II era Russian.
Yeah.
They had the big green trench coats and everything.
Yeah.
Or even in Italian.
I just thought of like gas chamber Nazi
You
kind
could
of type
see it.
guy.
Yeah, I think that's why it's done that way, to be
Either way,
ubiquitous with what's viewed as the bad guy.
well, both of us picked all three axes. So
Yeah.
of World War II. So
I mean, that's
say we're right.
So it also shows a caravan of refugees trembling outwards away from him, a hiding child with a teddy bear, a dead child in someone's arms, in ruins everywhere. In the second section of this mural, there is the celebration, which we'll get to in a second. There's also, I'll talk about, there's a little piece of paper with this in the first painting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about it in a second. But that's kind of, for the first painting, there's this guy, ruins, refugees trembling, a dead kid, a kid that's about to be cut by the sword, and then a dove of peace flying through the middle. It's very, especially if this is your first time coming to America.
I was gonna say this. Yeah, this is an
international airport.
Imagine
you imagine Pear, if you're listening to this.
Flying
Imagine
in.
if Pear like flew into Denver and he's like, "Oh,
my
the
gosh.
stories were right."
I honestly can't. I wish I had the video of him saying that, because it would be the
Oh
funniest
my
thing ever.
gosh.
Yeah.
So in the second section of the mural, there's a celebration of many young people with the same soldier dead below them. The dove now rests on his body, and the swords are being disassembled by the kid with a hammer. So they're breaking apart all the swords, breaking them into stuff. The war and peace themes of the mural are quite clear, yet there are some alternative curious ideas of what the mural truly symbolizes.
Why is it kids? That's the thing. I'm curious.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because the kids are important, because kids in both of them.
Both
There's
of
no
them, yeah.
adults besides the bad guy.
So yeah, that's like
Which, if you want to go still doomsday,
Mhm.
but the New World Order, is nobody surviving, is the deal. There are some diseases that would leave all the kids alive.
yeah. I could believe that for
Like
sure.
Sweet Tooth. Literally, a new show on Netflix came out. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Is that the Twisted Metal show?
No, I know that's his name too.
Okay.
But no, the Sweet Tooth is about all the animal. We messed with the genomes, we messed with genetics, we messed with powers we didn't understand from the Earth. It's both like magic and science.
Okay.
So all the kids started being born as animal hybrids,
It's like alchemy.
but all the kids on Earth started being born as animal hybrids.
Huh?
And there's a disease killing pretty much every adult. It's 100% fatal. That's the whole point. Is it like the last bits of the old world are fighting to kill all the new world?
Yeah.
So in that way, if you're looking at it like that, the new world order would be that the kids are going to inherit the earth,
Right.
but there is going to be still some resistance from the last remnants of the old world.
And that they're stomping out.
Yes.
See, I view it more as, I see what you're saying. I that's more of a hopeful way to look
No,
at it.
I'm saying that is
Yeah.
the better. That is a positive way.
Yes, I see it more as like the soldier, whatever he is, with the gas mask and the gun, going through, killing. Whether it be sickness or, I think all the like white vans could represent ambulances or just vehicles taking people.
White vans.
I thought you said that, a caravan.
A caravan is a group of people traveling.
Sorry, I heard it in my head as white vans.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so the caravan. Okay,
It's a group of people running away from him.
So all the people running away. Yeah, I'm saying he could have murdered all the, the older people, the adults, leaving the children, with no place to go. Now they're all vulnerable to being reprogrammed, and to into a new system, into a new world order that they're programmed to accept and think of as normal. And then now they view as that bad guy that kind of set all the stuff into motion for them to do that. Now they can be felt or viewed as the saviors in their own minds for stomping out the old bad guy that created all this, to welcome in and accept the new world order that they think they're part of, but it's just reprogramming them to accept it and live in this way of life that is still under control. That's how my more negative way to look at it.
Last little couple paragraphs.
Okay.
So there are also themes of genocide, death, destruction that are clearly recallable by the imagination, which easily go along with the idea that the other mural of the extinction event is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways that these two murals work is by telling a story. Yet if told the same stories again, but in reverse order, it would seem a staggeringly different message. In peace and harmony with nature, we would see a picture of a society that had already been one with nature, and is now recently, are we truly breaking away from being environmentally friendly?
Mm.
Sorry, I may have misread that a little bit. We're only recently breaking away from being environmentally friendly.
Right.
So these paintings tell a very distinct story, but depending on which way you read them,
Which way you're following the mural
is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So one way is that these two murals work. Oh, sorry, I already read that. When it comes to the children of the world dream of peace being reversed, we are shown that a great evil was previously driven out of society. Society is currently working together. However, the second section of the mural shows the evil has come back and society may be destroyed by it. There are also some seriously whacked out theories and crazy theories associated with the Denver International Airport. Some of them were being aided by the government or ineffectivities and the intriguing art that they're commissioned. I'm going to try to read the children's letter.
Okay.
And this is in the painting.
Yeah.
I was once a little child who longed for other worlds, but I am no more a child, for I have known fear. I have learned to hate. How tragic then is youth, with lives, with enemies, with gallows ropes. Yet I still believe I only sleep today, that when I'll wake up as a child again, and I'll start to laugh and play.
That seems nefarious.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem too positive of a note to put out in the ether.
So I don't know. It's just saying that, and I agree that children of today, if we want to go this way with it, I agree children of today don't have childhood, anymore.
Right, yeah.
And I think our generation was the one where we're starting to go away.
Our school only has one recess now, and you have to earn your second recess. Can you believe that?
It's
That's in our hometown.
I mean, that's why my kids are not going to public school
It's just my mind was
private school. He's staying here.
I just found
I just
it
can't
out.
teach him how to read.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be rough.
No, that's the co-op's for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't want to be a English teacher
No, I just
or a spelling teacher.
Spelling's not that important as long as you can sound it out.
Right? Yeah, true.
But you'll say stuff like beignet and
Yeah.
and anyways. No, so what do you think about the order? How would you place them? Do you think they read correctly?
I think they're designed in a way to be interpreted both ways, so you don't know which way it's supposed to go.
Well, I'm asking you what you think, which way they're supposed to go.
That's why I think they're supposed to go both ways. I think the artist, whoever commissioned it or painted it, designed it in a way to be read both ways. So you really don't know, like it's confusion in your own mind. It's muddying the waters in a sense.
So you think that is it like a choose your own adventure
Yeah, I think so.
to where both can? So here's my thing with I believe in governmental karma,
Yeah,
that the government is doing satanic stuff or whatever you want to call it,
yeah,
and that they have to. But a part of that magic or a part of that ritual stuff is they have to tell us everything.
right. It has to be disclosed.
So is this showing you the options? Here's the 2 ways this can go. And it's up to you to pick.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that could be a way to interpret it as well too.
And because it can, if you read them left to right, they're a completely different story as right to left.
Right. Yeah.
But traditionally you read
Left to right.
Yeah. So,
Well, yeah, but then other cultures, it's right to left.
Yeah. Like Hebrew.
Right.
It's the completely opposite. It's right to left, down to up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's meant to be interpreted both ways, but for the reason of, like you said, choose your own adventure. It's like, okay, as the observer, how do you choose to view the story? Are you going to view it in a negative sense or in a positive sense? You have choices.
And the letter's kind of creepy.
Very.
But I get it. Let's say it's not nefarious. I get it as far as saying, like, kids today aren't kids.
Yes, but kids shouldn't know that to be writing that letter. Does that make sense?
They know so much more than we do anymore.
No, that's true.
There's 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds being exposed to stuff.
Oh yeah.
And because I don't swear in front of kids and stuff like that for like 4-H and stuff like that. And one of the parents is like, I hears worse stuff at school and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I know, but he doesn't need to hear it from me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And just the stuff they know, like the stuff that's on these kids' sites, and they're not kids anymore.
No, it's
from a young age. So I think, to me, I could interpret the letter from that. Is knowing fear and knowing pain and knowing, you can watch a guy's head get chopped off on YouTube. Like, it's there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think the kid algorithms is
it's evil.
Weird. It's very weird, evil. I would say, yeah, I agree with that. You leave them unattended. I mean, I got nephews and just watching them scroll on there. It's like, that's a lot of he's flying through like the little shorts videos, and see that. It's like, oh, what's.
You ever watch Bluey?
No.
I endorse that one.
Never
watched all the evil kid shows.
Yeah.
Blue is the only one where I like all the messaging.
Okay. Now, I haven't watched in quite a long time kids show. Staple in the bottom of my shoe.
Oh, but I don't know. What do you think? So, you think the letter's bad or good or neutral?
I think it's bad. I mean, because it's setting a precedent of like kids knowing like I felt pain, tragedy, fear. Like, kids shouldn't have to.
But is that a statement saying that that's what's wrong with the world today? Is we're not protecting our kids? Like, this is a letter written by a kid.
Or is it right? Exactly. Is that the statement like that the kids are aware or they know they're experiencing these things, and that's the shame of like
right? Is it trying to shame us?
Right. Yeah.
As adults, as the people that's curating the world, showing you bluntly that we're not doing a good enough job for the kids.
For the kids,
world.
yeah, yeah. I could see that. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I think so. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, it's just a shameful thing that this kid is aware of all these things that kids shouldn't really have to be exposed to or aware of.
You should protect your kids.
Yes, I agree.
That's what the only job of any species
is protecting your offspring. Yes.
As long as you're not a crab.
What, they eat them?
Yeah.
Okay. Go figure. That's just what crabs do.
It's just crabs.
They eat everything.
Yeah. Just crab. It's crab mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
But anything else before we kind of close this one off?
No, I think this is a good start. Sets the foundations. We got the.
This is not even.
I know.
The top 20 of the crazy conspiracies we're about to get into in the next part.
We just scratched the surface.
So when we come back next week, this will be next Monday because Wednesdays are a whole different thing. Next Monday's episode, we're going to start back with Lucifer and the story behind Lucifer.
All right, I'm excited.
Do you know how many people Lucifer's killed?
3.
Yes.
Really? I knew it was more than 1, so I just guessed. All right. So next week, tune back in to hear the 3 people killed by Lucifer.
And we're going to try to just keep it to a 2-parter. So next week, maybe like an hour and a half.
We'll try to speed through a little bit, I
But
guess.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
And part of it's the DIA's fault. Because like we're going to talk about their signs and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're adding to it. Yeah.
All right, guys. Bye. Thank you for listening to Crypts of the Corn podcast.
Please share with a friend you think would like us. It's the best way to help our show grow.
Leave a comment, rate us, a 5-star review, and remember, there is always extra content on Patreon/cryptodsofthecorn.com.
And don't forget, stay magical.